So I'm going to title this video The Traditional Path to Try or Not. So I was asked what was the fuel behind the fire to avoid the traditional path, where this idea came from. And I sat there thinking to myself and just honestly, I couldn't provide a reason. And then all of a sudden, one day it just kind of hit me. So I'm going to give a little bit of a backstory to this idea. So growing up, I was always the math science kid. I was also part of the robotics team. I was constantly surrounded by those kind of sort of like-minded individuals that just seemed to be the direction I was going in. So like most of us, a lot of my professors started pushing me in that direction. And it seemed like logical. It wasn't really something I thought of to pursue a career in engineering. Clearly not art, because these artistic skills are not very good. So I went along with pursuing a career in engineering, had the idea to then apply to the University of Alabama's School of Engineering after graduation. So I got my little cap. We all got sent on our own ways, graduated, and went on to start my life at Alabama. I had always been the good A student. I never made anything below that, but, come to find out, come to college, get hit with a couple of these. And the desire to do this major, since I was in chemical engineering, just wasn't there. And I vividly remember the one day where I hit my breaking point is a student who had graduated in that field came back and talked to us and gave us just spiel about how every time they see a plastic water bottle, they think about what it's made of, the polymers it's in, and they seemed excited about it. And I was just like, is this it? Like, is this going to be my life? This seems to be something that I thought I wanted, but maybe I really just got pushed here by people that thought they knew better. So I decided to scrap that idea, and halfway through sophomore year, I had to talk with my family and ended up switching into the world of accounting shortly soon after. It seemed like a logical step because turns out my dad was a Big Four accountant back in the day. So he was like, hey, it's a logical step. You can do anything with accounting. The business world is fueled by accounting. There's pretty much jobs everywhere. So there's the idea of security as well as familiarity because he had done it himself. And so I went along with this for a while. And then at one point, I took the intro class, AC 210. Seemed interesting, seemed easy enough. I actually appreciated the class, thought it was kind of fun. My professor at the time really kind of got me bit on. But as we moved into that junior year of classes and things were no longer, I guess you could say, easy and moved to more of the intermediate level, and some might even say weed out classes, I ended up in one of those positions one night, late last night, where it was one of these type of phone calls, calling the family on the phone. So I wanted to leave the life of feeling like this behind. So the major I thought about switching to actually was related to a passion of mine, weightlifting, personal training. So I thought about switching to kinesiology and pursuing a degree that would be learning all about something I already had an interest in. This was also influenced by one of the main reasons that I felt like I needed to get off the traditional path is I just always felt like I was going to be basically in my dad's shadow. I mean, he was accomplished. He had been a Big Four partner. Here I am sitting at the very bottom, not even sure if I want to do it, not being the most skilled in classes, and seeing that he reached basically the highest level of accomplishment that you can within that field. Getting to the top of the Big Four. And that just seemed like something that seemed like a mile away to me. And I felt kind of had started those feelings like accounting had been picked for me as well. And so finally, I had a little bit of relief when I decided to join the MAC program for Alabama. I was going to be the first person in my family to get a master's, so it finally felt like I was doing something unique. But before I get that, one of the reasons that I also felt like I was in the shadows, I had a moment where funny enough, a family feud of somebody that my parents had worked with had a little bit of incident with recruiting, and actually the first round of recruiting ended up getting denied, not getting an internship, so I had to wait for the next year to come around. I had to apply to get an internship again. Luckily got one with the company that I'm accepting a job with, but unfortunately it was in the city that I wasn't the most thrilled about. So I ended up luckily getting to switch and have my internship in Birmingham. But to get back to the idea of trying to stray away from that traditional path, I just, between all the constant failures and feeling like I was constantly living behind somebody else, I really just kind of had that burning desire to define myself, define my own life, make my own choices. I just didn't want to feel like I wasn't my own person anymore and like everything was being chosen for me. And I decided that I wanted to be the person that was going to be family-centric in the future. I mean, that was one thing that I dealt with when I was a little bit younger, is having to get used to that person that their work-life balance wasn't so great. And they just weren't always around all the time. So if there'd be soccer games, maybe my dad would be the one who wasn't there, or if there was a swim meet, he would miss a couple of those here and there, and it kind of became sad not to be there. So I wanted to pick something that I thought would best set me up for being the person that could be around my family more often, not the type that felt like they were working 24/7, doing something they didn't enjoy, and just wanting to do something for once in my life that felt like my own and that wasn't given to me through professors or parents, just something that was mine for once. And straying away and doing something like following the passion of opening my own gym one day and doing something of that nature, just something that honestly my whole family could be a part of. I wouldn't mind being the one who has the next specifically like CrossFit box where my family can work out together. They could work there if they want to, kind of make a life out of it, and even, I don't know, maybe run another business beside it. I mean, everybody this day and age is being so creative. Creativity's at an all-time high. People are coming up with all these ideas. And it just, I don't know, it seems like the right time to make a move to create something unique, maybe try and go after building a legacy. I mean, following the traditional path, so many people become successful. They end up having wildly successful careers, but I feel like if I reach the end of my life doing something that somebody else handed to me for lack of colors, imagine if this was a silver platter, something that somebody handed to me and kind of ushered me into. Again, it goes back to the idea of just feeling like it was mine and having almost a little bit of an idea of kind of feeling like somebody's little puppet on strings, that they kind of just guide me along into something that they want to usher me into. So that's really the grand idea that it comes down to, is just a burning desire to kind of get out from under the ushering of me into something that I never really chose for myself, and what that'll look like in the future. Hopefully it's something like turning a gym into a business that's just something I'm passionate about, or if for some reason accounting opened up another unique door that felt like something that was my own path that I could choose for myself, I would be wildly thankful for that as well. It just that I feel like that's the ultimate answer to my question of why to not wanting to follow the traditional path, is I felt like the traditional path has led me to nothing so far but being in the shadows, feeling like I'm being pushed around, not making my own decisions, just almost kind of going on autopilot and letting other people guide me along and just checking off the boxes along the way, but not being mindfully present as I'm working through my journey to ultimately end up at hopefully the destination one day will be the end of my life, when I feel like I've had a career that's something that I crafted and can leave a legacy for my family, and something to be remembered by, and something that I'm truly proud of because I created it myself.